Hello and welcome to another C Sharp training. I'm Jeremir Zielonkiewicz and we're actually back with our CS training solution. So I have my blank Visual Studio and let me bring back my Solution Explorer. Yes, this is the time that we actually will create a new project because, well, we're more or less over some basics. So just to be, I don't know, just to be beyond one thing and then go on with some other stuff, let's just create a new project. Why not? So to be able to actually create multiple projects in Visual Studio, and that's one thing that I want you to learn from this video, is that you just right click your solution, right? So you go to your Solution Explorer, right? And then you right click your solution and then you say add and then you say new project. And then you're back with the window, the pop-up, the form that you got in the beginning when you created your your first project, right? So I'm gonna keep this project a console application, and I'll call this project even more basic. And I'll keep this project within the same location as it was, so that it just gets stacked here, right? So, I'm sorry. So yeah, so we'll have a console application. Our new project will be called Even More Basics, and we'll have the same location as we started earlier. Okay, so we go okay with this. We'll move our Solution Explorer so it doesn't really take up space, and we need some space. And we're back with the same project template or the program CS template that we had in the beginning. And this is something that we actually wanted because, well, we wanted to just clear out everything that we had previously and we want to start something new. So what I want you to learn today is, well, we're going to talk about, because, okay, we've learned some mathematical operators, right? We've learned some ways to declare data. It's still simple, still very, very, very simple. But now I want you to take a look as we try to organize our code, because we could just write our code and have multiple lines, right, in one place, right, between these two brackets. And, well, yeah, why not? I mean, should work if our logic is okay and if everything's okay. And we could have like 10,000 lines of code here, and it would work probably. But then you probably have a slight problem with reading this code, right? And what you want to do is just take advantage of the power that you have in Visual Studio, and that's what you want to do, and you want to actually also take the advantage of the power that you have using just C#, right? So, okay, what can you do? Well, you can create methods, and that's something that's really, really cool. And, well, what is a method? Well, when you try to write code, like I said, you can write a bunch of lines here, right? And I'm not writing any code yet. I'm just trying to explain and just try to use your imagination for now, and just to see what you can do, right? So this actually is a method, right? Or you can call it a function as well, or you can call it a procedure. There are these are three names that are different. They do different stuff, and well, just because these things actually name almost the same things, almost, uh, people use them all the time, just to name things like this. Or they can call it routine as well. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so you have a piece of code, you have a piece of logic, you want your program to do something, right? And you can just put it in something that is named and meaningful, and we'll do that. So the first example of such a thing, and let me just remove this. The first example is the main function or the main method, right, of your program. So you have this static, which I'll explain probably later on, maybe on the next lesson. Just for now, we'll use static, and we're not going to care why. Now, the second word, the keyword, or yeah, is void, and yeah, void means that okay, nothing. I mean, null, zit, nada, right? Void. You probably know what void is. I mean, black hole. Yeah. Okay. Uh, I'm gonna explain that in a second, but let's just go through with this. Then you have your method name, and this method here is called main, right? And then you have those cool brackets where, okay, yeah, let's just say that, where your parameters go. Let's just don't care about what are parameters. Okay, so this is the main function, right? Now, let's come back to this void thing. So if we want, okay, yeah, maybe let's do this. Yeah. So we put some variables inside our main function. So let's just say a and b, right? And a is equal to 1, and b is equal to 3, right? Come on. Yeah. And we could do some mathematical operations on that. So we could say like, okay, a times b, or a minus b, or b minus a, or whatever, right? And then we can perform an action, right? But it would be useless if we couldn't get that value out of this utility, right? Out of this block of code. So we can write this function. So I'll just make something fast. So okay, we set static, right? And we say void, and then add numbers, right? And like this, and I'll copy that code, right? I'm stupid. Okay. Yeah. Just wanted to copy that code. Okay. We need a result here because we need. Yeah. So the result will be, let's say, A plus B, right? This is something that we did already earlier in a previous training, right? And what we did was, okay, we just used the console, right, to write that result out. So addition result. Yeah, very cool. Okay, so I just wrote a method that will add two numbers to each other, right? Two static numbers. I mean, the user cannot change these numbers because I wrote them in code, and nobody can change that. So that's something that is static. But I wrote this function, right? And well, normally, and what you would, if you never programmed, then you would think like, oh yeah, I wrote some code, and it should work, right? Oh, and let's just, yeah, because we want to see the result. So from the previous lessons, we know that we can not throw, through, yeah. We want to stop our program at some point so that we can see some results, right? And then when we run this, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so very sorry. Okay, let's just come back to let's just come back to our solution explorer. Yeah, this might happen from time to time. Yeah, when you're just like me and your head is way above your brain, and yeah, uh, and you just forget stuff, right? So if you have multiple projects in your solution, then the one that runs is the one that is actually active, right? And currently we have the previous project active, right? So you have to activate the new project in order to actually be able to create additional stuff, right? And to run this particular one, right? So if you right click this one, you can call this set as startup project. And one additional thing I want to look at, and let's just make this together. Wait, yeah. Okay, remember the properties, right? So I said, okay, we can find where our solution is. We can find where our project is, because here's the source folder for our project, right? So if we go there to that source folder like this and just go to the CS training, now you can see that, okay, there are two files. This is the solution files, and then you can see two folders, one for the basics and then even more basics, right? So yeah, whenever you create something, then you get that. So just a digression. Okay. So we ran our project. Did I do that? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, again, I wanted to make this project, so the even more basics, a startup project. Yeah, I did. Okay, so coming back to our lesson, so we run our code, and nothing happens. I mean, we see a blank screen, a pointer, and we click whatever, and the program stops. So how do we get this thing to work? How do we get this thing to work? Well, we need to call it. We need to say like run something. For example, uh, when you have this application folder, right, which is kind of like here, yeah, and then you go double clicking and stuff, right? Then you have the exe file, and you just double click it, and does nothing, right? But you actually tell Windows to run a specific file, right? Now, in programming, you do the same thing. You say, like, okay, I have this code within something that I named, and I want to run it. So I run it. So I just say the name, add numbers, then I put the brackets, because I need them, and I put a colon at the end. And I say, like, okay, run this thing, right? Just do it, right? And now if I hit F5, and I can see, oh, addition result 4. Yeah, because A plus B, so 1 plus 3 is 4. Yep. Okay. Well, but let's just think about having a more complex program. What if I want this result here, right? Somewhere here within the main function, and I don't. I just want the logic of the operation, the thing that I want to do, right? The add numbers. I want to keep it here, and because, well, that's part of some logic that I want to create, right? And I want to keep it here, and I want to have the result, right, somehow passed up here, so somewhere within the main. So I want int addition result. I want it here, right? And okay, what I want to do is I want to just say, like, okay, put that here, right? I know it produces an error now. I know, but this is actually possible, right? So I want this result somehow to be passed on from this method to my variable somewhere else, right? To be passed on, to be moved, to be copied, right? For now, these will be similar things. I mean, we'll talk about other stuff later. Yeah. Okay, so we want to just get this value somewhere here, right? Okay, so we get an error saying, okay, cannot implicitly convert type void to int. Maybe you don't see that. Here you have a magnification. Cannot implicitly convert type void to int. Type void, okay, I use void here. So maybe let's just put int. Maybe that solves the problem. Okay, we get another error. Okay, so we get another error. Not all code paths return a value. Yeah. Now, okay, so now we know that a method might return a value, and this value is denoted by this thing. So yeah, let's just quickly wrap up this, and I'm not finishing the video. I'm just trying to because I'm trying to actually teach you by asking questions or showing you some problems and stuff, because when you program, you'll just run into a whole bunch of problems, and if you don't like problems, don't start programming. Okay, so let's wrap up. We started with a void, and I said I'll tell you what this thing here is later on. So let's just discuss this. So this will denote the type, and that can be any type. It might be the person that we created earlier in 2 or 3 videos ago. It might be any type. Whatever we create, or whatever was created for us, and is a type, can be returned, right? So it just denotes the definition of the object that is returned, the definition of the complexity of the data that is just passed on somewhere. The function that does not know where it passes on, right? So when we write the function, we just know that it just will return a value. If someone uses it, he might take the value or not. Depends on the person, right? Someone will take the value, someone won't, because he doesn't need it. He just needs the function to do something, right? But we have the possibility of returning a value, right? So we say return int, right? And whenever we say we want to return something, so this is something different than void, which means do not return anything. I mean, returning nothing, not returning anything. I don't know how to say that differently. Then you have to return something, right? So if you say you're returning, then you have to, and then you always get an error. Not all code paths return a value whenever, well, not all code paths return a value. So you have to have some kind of return. How do you return a value then? Okay, well, it's easy enough, because you can just say return, right? Okay, and just saying return doesn't give us much, because okay, now we get an error here, because, well, we cannot return nothing. We need to return a specific thing, because we said we're going to be returning an int, right? So yeah, I know that this is probably very obvious, but we're supposed to return an int. So we declare the result, this is the result, and we're supposed to actually return the result. Now, let's just copy this here, right? And now we don't have the result, but we have the addition result, right? And then addition result, I'll call it in main, right? So that we can see both of these. So running this function or method or procedure, it's not really a procedure, and you shouldn't call this procedure, but nobody cares. Oh, some people care. Yeah. And so that we can see this here within the main function as well, and we'll actually see 2 lines printed on the console, right? Okay, so let's run the code. And we can see that first the function was called, or the method was called, right? And we have the addition result from the method, right? And then we have this method passing the result into the addition result variable that was declared in the main function, right? And then this one is printed out in the second line, the second write to the console, right? Okay, in the next lesson we'll be talking about parameters for methods, and at some point probably we'll be talking about scope, but I don't know if this will be the second lesson or, well, the next lesson or any other. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment if you have any questions or maybe I said something wrong. And subscribe for more videos. I'm not getting any money from this, so it's your choice to subscribe just to get information that, well, a new video came. Have a good time and thanks for watching. Bye.